Once upon a time, there were a little old man and a little old woman who traveled across the prairie in search of a new home. When they came to a big, beautiful lake, and they said, "This is such a beautiful lake. Look, it's filled with waves and fishes and birds. Let's build our little house here." And so that's exactly what they did. Now, on the prairie, there are not trees to build houses out of, so they built what's called a sod house. And sod houses are made out of grass. So they stack them up kind of like an igloo. They make bricks out of the grass. And this is the little house they made. And here's their little door. And there's a little window, another little window. And in those days, they did not have running water like we have now. So if you wanted water to wash your face or wash your dishes or drink or cook, you had to walk down to the lake and get water. And pretty soon, they had walked down to the lake so many times, they had a nice little path leading down to the water. And back in those days, because they didn't have running water, they also didn't have drains. So when you're done with your water, guess what you did? You just opened the door and poured it outside. Well, they lived quite happily in their little house, and one day they had some neighbors across the lake. These neighbors lived in teepees. They had been coming to the lake for hundreds of years for the same reasons, because of the beautiful fish and the beautiful birds and the waves. And they too didn't have running water, so they would walk on down to the lake and walk on back. And the two neighbors, they would see each other at the edge of the lake, and they would wave to each other and say, "Hello, hello, hello." And one day the little old woman said to the little old man, "I have a fabulous idea. Let's invite our new neighbors for dinner. A big, wonderful dinner, and we'll have lots of things from the garden, and maybe you can go out and shoot a duck or a goose for us to eat." And the husband thought that was a good idea as well. So he went down to the lake, hollered at the neighbors, invited them for dinner, and then sat down to hunt a big goose with his rifle. And he was just about ready to shoot one. He had it in his sights when he sneezed and frightened all the birds away. And they all flew away, every last one of them. And the little old man was so sad he had to go back to the house and say to his wife, "Honey, I'm so sorry, but I sneezed, and I scared away all the birds, so we're just going to have to serve vegetables for dinner." And his wife, she stuck her big, huge nose out the door, and she said, "You silly goose, go back outside. There's a turkey right in front of you." And there he is. And that is the end.